Welcome, friends. So today we're doing Johanna Basford, but with princesses. So for my first piece, I decided to do Thumbelina. And I must say, if you loved this movie as a child, a cautionary tale about going and watching it as an adult. I remember as a kid, I loved the song, Let Me Be Your Wings. And as an adult, holy cow, is it dramatic. It is so dramatic. I'm just saying, if you loved it as a kid, may not want to go watch it as an adult. If you love it as an adult, that's great, but it was very dramatic. So just a little word of caution there. So I found this reference photo of her with her little friends waving, and I put her waving to the sparrow. I put the sparrow on the other side. He was a swallow. So I put Jacques on the other side. For her hair color, I struggled to get the right shade. I had to overlap two different colors to kind of get the right shade. It still surprises me how much empty space are on these coloring pages. I spent so long on this piece, and the actual part of the coloring page itself did not take me very long at all because it was just a single flower. So sometimes I'm still surprised with just how empty this is, but it's all right. It made for a lot of fun to turn this into some Thumbelina fan art. Once I got all the creatures together and in the picture, to pull it all together, I just put some blades of grass in the background. And since they're supposed to be really small and close to the ground, I did this kind of dark gray and fade out into this teal blue color because I wanted it to look like an evening sky, not really a night sky, but not a day sky either. I knew I needed the prince in there because I felt bad to not have him in there, so I just kind of put him in the background, riding a bee. And I was thinking to myself, why would they need to ride a bee? They can already fly. Like, what's the point of riding the bee? And then for the rocks, I just drew in my rocks and some extra tufts of grass to kind of match the style that Johanna already had on the little grass mound that's beneath the flower. And I bought a huge set of acrylic markers, and so happy I did. This is so much easier than just painting it. I can now color over anything where the coloring page is, and it's a lot more efficient because I don't use a ton of paint. So breaking out paintbrushes and water and palettes just to do a little tiny piece on every single page was getting a little cumbersome. So really excited about the paint markers. They seem to work pretty well. I ended up going with a lighter color and then had to darken it because it wasn't quite the right color. So I fixed that at the end, and here is my finished product. For my second one, this one's probably my favorite. I decided to do Princess and the Frog. This page was really weird because the flowers at the bottom just seem like they're kind of thrown on there. The dimensions are kind of strange because they're not like on the ground, but they're also not part of the 3 stems. So I'm not really sure what was going on here. It didn't seem to work very well. So I decided to turn that into a bush and put a little log in front of it. Drew Tatiana and the prince, whose name I can't really remember, on the other side, giving her kind of a look, and she's smirking at him. I thought that was really cute. And then I put the crocodile playing his trumpet in the background, and then the little lightning bug. And I put the little lightning bug there. Ray was really difficult to draw because of how tiny he was. So kind of the same thing with this one. I spent so much time on this piece, but the actual coloring page itself didn't take any time at all because there's just nothing here. put a super pale yellow paint on Ray's little glowy butt so it would really stand out. Here's my finished product. I am so happy with it. I was very happy with it, especially the little crocodile in the background. I think it's great. The lily pads really brought it all together. This last one is for you, an artist. If you don't like to draw, I bought this super neat tracing tool, super cheap, and I loved it. I had a little bit of trouble getting it put together. You would think like the openings, the little wedge things would fit inside the openings, but they do not. Once I finally got it put together, it was super easy to use. There's all sorts of these on Amazon. I've been wanting one for a while, finally broke down and bought one. So for this last piece, I'm going to do A Bug's Life with Princess Addie and Princess Dot. So tracing with this was actually pretty easy. I turned the lights off so that I could really see the character on the page, but I found that the plastic piece being a dark color really helped, so I could leave the lights on. I was able to see it just fine. Using the tracing piece is super helpful when sometimes I don't feel like just really taking the time and effort to draw something, and sometimes it's just easier to trace, especially when I'm tired or I've got a lot going on. I don't have a ton of time to spend. The hardest part doing this on a coloring page, the book is thick, and every time you place your hand on the book, it collapses a little bit. So you have to like hold the book down while you're tracing, or else the lines will keep getting moved to keep bumping the tracing tool. So this would be really great for just a piece of paper, but doing it in a coloring book was a little on the tricky side. Still was totally worth it. It was like $10. Definitely feel like it was worth the effort. So in retrospect, I wish I had just made Dim and whatever the Black Widow was. I should have made them just closer to the forefront in retrospect, because drawing them just so tiny is so hard. It's not even worth the effort. I should have just drew them bigger. But in my mind's eye, when I saw this piece, I saw Dim in the background carrying Lemmy like he does at the end, and I just thought that'd be cute, and it would have been cute, but you can only draw so tiny. Of course, for the butterfly, I'm turning it into Gypsy. So from the back side, Gypsy is got a lot of browns, but on the inside, it's blues and purples and teals. So I kind of did the best I could with keeping the color scheme similar to Gypsy in the movie. Obviously, Gypsy in the movie doesn't have flowers all over her wings, but I went ahead and did the flowers with the browns and blacks and oranges like Gypsy has in the film to try to still create that vibe. And I didn't want to change a ton on the body shape, so I tried to keep the body shape as similar to Gypsy as I possibly could and just add the face. It worked out okay. I didn't have to use many paint markers on this. I just used it a little bit on Ada's legs, and then I had to fix Dot's eyeball that I messed up. And then I had to use the paint markers on Gypsy's face to actually make it look like Gypsy and not just a random butterfly. did a little bit different rock style in this, so I can make it look a little bit more like slate with some cracks in the big rocks in the background, and to match more of the style of the movie. So here's my finished product. I just love A Bug's Life. It does hold up today. Make sure you like and subscribe, or else this video won't go any further. And let me know down in the comments if you have another idea. What do you want to see me do next?